So today we're at a conference called Combating Anti-Muslim Hatred in Britain and Europe. It's going to be a groundbreaking conference today. We've got activists, academics, political thinkers, social thinkers, people, political commentators, all together, all around Europe, come together today in London, in the East End, to London Muslim Centre, to tackle these issues of anti-Muslim hatred. It's something that's been on the rise for the last 10 years on the pretext of the war on terror. But what we need to do today is actually come together and work out, okay, how do we actually combat this? What are the solutions in terms of bringing everyone together from the right to the left, all political spectrums together, to say enough to Islamophobia, now we need to get on and tackle this issue.
Les actes islamophobes sont de plus en plus nombreux. Les agressions des sœurs en voile et en niqab sont devenues une normalité.
The acts, really physical acts, Islamophobic acts, are becoming greater in number, and especially concerning women that are easily being discerned as Muslims, like, for example, those who are wearing a niqab.
But one thing that strikes me when I'm talking to young people, and it happens repeatedly, is the kind of attitude about the way that they interact with wider society. And regularly I hear the same thing, and it's, well, I know what they're already thinking about me. Young people are going into social interactions with the assumption that the people that they're talking to, whether it's their teachers, whether it's police officers, whether it's just people in the street, are already thinking negatively about them, and therefore that social interaction has been infected and made already negative.
Firstly, the actual issue of Islamophobia, you could say, just a couple of miles away from here, just a couple of years ago, at City University, 3 Muslim students were actually stabbed coming out of their programs here, right here in London.
Redbridge, mosque been attacked. Hull, mosque been attacked in terms of Stoke. 2 years ago, the attack on the mosque that took place there. In Dudley, they not only attacked the mosque, they attacked the Hindu temple.
I have a question for you. Why are we here today? Is there any one of us here who thinks seriously that Islamophobia is not a critical issue? If there is, please raise your hand. And the others, please don't get on here. So there's no one. So the job today is not to say whether there is a problem or not. There is a problem. The question is, how do we tackle it? How do we move forward to change the situation?
When I was born in 1925, we were taught there are only 2 sorts of people, the English and foreigners. Well, I mean, there are no foreigners now. We're all members of the human race. And I think with the news coverage, with all its efficiency, we do pick up about repression in different parts of the world, about the Arab revolt, about what's going on, and gradually we build a sense of common interest with the rest of humanity. And if we do that, then we have all the strength we need to resist those who want war and conflict and repression and hostility. And that's why Islamophobia has got to be faced and tackled and talked down, because if we can do that, there's such a gain for us all. And if we don't do that, then Islamophobia will be used to justify war after war after war, and millions will die. So that's all I want to say. Thank you for asking me, and good luck.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons créé avec des sœurs en niqab une association. Cette association vient de voir le jour, et elle s'appelle Citoyennes de la Liberté.
With the sisters that are wearing niqab, they founded an organization that is called Citoyennes de la Liberté.
Citizens for Freedom.
Citizens of Freedom.
Et cette association est faite pour combattre les injustices faites vis-à-vis des femmes.
This is made to fight the injustice, especially women have to face.
Et Inch'Allah, pour pouvoir aller à l'annulation totale de cette loi qui est contre le niqab.
Voilà. Et elle espère que she hopes that this helps to fight this law against wearing the niqab. And I may add that this is open to every woman to fight for freedom of every woman to choose whatever she wants. Thank you.
From a line from a poem by Sanum, it's called Mr. B&P, it's brilliant. it, check it out on YouTube. And she says, so I'll wear my hijab, I'll risk it, because regardless, I'm more British than your tea and biscuits. Thank you for listening, guys.
And it's with a smile that we should be able to forcibly confront the challenges that we're facing. You know, these myths about terror, 99.6% of terrorist attacks in Europe in the past few years were actually not to do with Muslims. We have the data to stack these up about loyalty. Over the Gallup poll, there's serious research that's gone into this. Overwhelming majorities of Muslims in France, Germany and the UK are actually more loyal to the country than the non-Muslim populations. British Muslims are more likely than others to strongly identify with their national institutions. So we have a lot to be proud about, and there's a lot of positive stuff going on in the community to look to. And it's when we're not confident, and it's when we feel like we're constantly under attack without that smile on our face, is when I think that we'll start to fall on the back foot and not be able to confront these challenges head on.
I'll finish now by saying once again that I'm here to bring greetings on behalf of the local NUT, but the national NUT, and to assure you that whether it's actively on the streets combating the threat of the EDL, marching with you, standing with you, whether it's in schools and in classrooms, taking on the challenges and using our role as teachers to develop the anti-racist and combat the Islamophobic arguments, or whether it's in the wider political arena, do rest assured that the local NUT branch and the National Union of Teachers will be there working with you, standing side by side with our Muslim brothers and sisters to combat this very serious threat that we face. Thanks very much.
But we also need to take the spirit of this conference into every locality, into every trade union branch, into every college, into every community, and we say to people, we are going to organise now for the right of Muslims to dress how they want, to worship how they want, to do all these things, to defend every mosque, and to fight against a government which is doing this. You see, we have real enemies in terms of the EDL, in terms of the BNP, in terms of the racists, the organised racists in this country. But let's be honest, they're a small force at the moment. They weren't the people who made the speech on the eve of the EDL demonstration in Luton. That was David Cameron, the civilised product of Eton and Oxford, who is supposed to be against racism. He's the person who made that speech.
In this type of situation, what I see is that people suffering and the people who are activists and who are supposed to take action, they're in states some kind of despair. So what can we do facing this media machine and this political machine and this economic machine? And we are just a small organization, small NGOs, and we are... Well, actually, change doesn't come in the mailbox. Every one of us is an agent of change. When we discuss with colleagues, when we discuss in the streets, when we vote against or for a political figure, we change something.
And our minds run back when we think of historical precedents to the great civil rights movement in the United States. And many of us who've looked at that history will know that there was a seminal turning point when activists, black and white, from the northern states took the freedom rides into the south to fight against the segregation laws, to fight against Jim Crow, to fight against the segregation of education. Well, we're in a different time and a different place. But I have a freedom ride to suggest to you. The Channel is no longer the barrier that it used to be. The trains run now to Paris. And I suggest that we organise a freedom ride. That all those who think that if a woman in a niqab gets on a train at St Pancras and gets off in the Gare du Nord, that she shouldn't have to change the way she looks. I think that we should go in numbers with those women on a freedom ride of our own from London to Paris, that we stand with the women in France who are being arrested now for dressing in the niqab, and that we say, we are Europeans, we are part of the common European home, these are our sisters and our brothers, and we stand with them, yes, here in Paris, for their right to dress how they please. Thank you very much.
The first thing I'd like to say is, if you get in that train to Paris, we'll be there to welcome you.